Well, good thirsty Thursday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's ready for a Thursday. Do you realize that 3 weeks from today, we'll be arriving in Kansas City. We will be in Kansas City getting ready for the draft. We'll probably be tired because we'll be driving through the night, man. We got my man Game Time. We got Prime Time is flying there. We got DMV. We got David Wiley, and we are headed for Kansas City. Kansas City, here we come. And hopefully the Dallas Cowboys click on all cylinders in the draft and get the future stars right now. So here's an interesting thing. As we get ready to get into it, I'm not the draft expert and I don't pretend to be. Um, and I'm still working on the guy that I want this year. Something that happens with the Cowboys. You look at the Dallas Cowboys draft picks in the first round. With Will McClay and crew, they really do their homework and they have had probably more hits in the first round than any other team in football. You look since Will McClay has been head of scouting and stuff. But then you go to the second round. The second round has been kind of a mixed bag. And let me read to you the draft picks since 2010. Sean Lee, Sean Lee was incredible. The problem with Sean Lee, he had the mind of the ultimate linebacker. Problem with Sean Lee was the body just couldn't go there with it. He had knee issues that were there from college that ended up being that first couple of years of his career he was still dealing with them and never was able to reach his potential. Had he been healthy, he would have been like Brian Urlacher. Just was. Bruce Carter, Gavin Escobar. Then we got Demarcus Lawrence. Demarcus Lawrence, you can't argue with. That's a winner, definitely right there. Sean Lee was definitely a winner. Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith, they took a chance on because of the knee. They thought that they'd get a first round talent um, on the rebound in the second round. Randy Gregory, who fell to the second round because he got busted smoking weed from the left hand side at the combine. Um, Actually, I got those backwards. It was Randy Gregory, then Jalen Smith. Awuzie, we got the greatest NFL draft hype from Drew Pearson there in Philadelphia. And Awuzie never really was never that great. Connor Williams, solid offensive lineman, but didn't get that second contract with us. Tristan Hill. Tristan Hill was another one of those guys that the Cowboys took a chance on because great motor, Ron Marinelli type pick, but had problems with coaching in Florida. Wasn't a starter because he didn't get along with his coaches. We ended up letting him go last year. Diggs, now you can say home run right there. Diggs is a home run. Diggs is incredible. Kevin Joseph, boss man fat. Kevin Joseph has been a bit of a disappointment. Kevin Joseph has not been what you'd hoped at cornerback. This is a pivotal year for Kevin Joseph. It's just got to be. It's time to shit or get off the toilet. And then we got Sam Williams. Sam Williams last year, who also fell because of off the field issues as well. Sam Williams might be one of those ones that's like Demarcus Lawrence that breaks the mold of where the Cowboys are in the second round. See, I think the problem with the Cowboys in the second round is they always feel good about the first round pick. They have gone all in. And I think that they feel like they're playing with house money. And so they take more risk with that second round pick. Their philosophy is we want to get first round talent with that second round pick. You hear me? They want first round talent with that second round pick. Excuse me, sorry. I got a cold. And so they will take a chance on a Jalen Smith who's injured or a player that's been injured and stuff and has fallen for whatever reason. They'll take a chance on a Randy Gregory who should have been a first round pick but had off field issues and so on. And hope that they end up getting that first round talented guy who fell for reasons that may not be typical of what a regular year would be. The off the field issues, the injuries, and they feel that they've got the best doctor staff in the world that can tell, is this recoverable or not? Sometimes it works with the DeMarcus Lawrence and things. Sometimes it blows up in your face like a Tristan Hill. So we'll have to see if that happens. But here's the thing that's kind of interesting is Sam Williams didn't really get that much love last year. Sam Williams, because here's the thing that's kind of funny. You think about Thibodeau for the Giants, right? You think about Thibodeau, right? Oh my God, if we had Thibodeau. Sam Williams was only a part-time player. We actually had a lot of edge rushers last year. So he was part of the rotation. So he didn't get as many snaps as, say, a Thibodeau did, or some of the, like Hutchinson and things, right? But here's the thing that's interesting. There was only 3 rookies that had more sacks than him last year. Only 3. Aiden Hutchinson, who had a monster season last year, 9.5 sacks. Then you had James Houston, who had 8. And then you had George Kalafanaskis, who had 6. Then on the list, you got Thibodeau, and you got Sam Williams at 4. Now, he played in 15 games, but again, the snap numbers were limited. Now, here's what's interesting. Now, if I talk about DeMarcus Lawrence's rookie year, he was injured part of it. He played in 7 games, had 0 sacks until we got to the playoffs against Detroit, and he did have 2 in the playoffs that year. He ended up having 9 tackles in those 7 games, so that's like 1 tackle a game, a little over 1. 2 tackles for a loss, and not a single quarterback hit. So you looked at that and it was kind of like, The next year, though, he played 16 games, had his breakout season, had 8 sacks, 55 tackles, and 14 tackles for loss. And then you start saying, okay, this guy's coming along. Now, we won't talk about the next year because he got busted for PEDs and had 1 sack in 9 games. But then after that, he had the 14.5 sack game. But be that as it may, taking a look at Sam Williams last year, who was not a full-time starter, in his 15 games had the 4 sacks, which was really good. And you saw he's big and he is fast too, which is 2 things that Dan Quinn loves completely. And having 22 tackles, not as many as we'd like to see. You'd like to see more than 1.5 a game, but still not bad. But here's the thing: 10 of them were tackles for loss, and he had 9 quarterback hits. So literally, he had about every other game, and a little less, he had a tackle for loss and a quarterback hit. You gotta love that. And so now that you've got a year under your belt, you're going to start perfecting your moves. You're going to start getting into your toolbox and, learning some different moves and things and specializing in them. And you're going to get more and more trust from the coaching staff. Look for him to have a breakout season this year. And I definitely, you can't coach that size. You can't coach that speed. You can coach the moves. You can coach the positions. And to me, I'm still at the draft here, wanting to get that big guy in the middle, because if you get that big guy in the middle who can get a push, that makes those guys outside that much more effective. And I look forward to seeing him take another step. Now, of course, we got to have our daily DeAndre Hopkins talk. This is this is to me where I believe the Cowboys should look at this season and say, we should be a contender. Let's just push the chips in. Let's get Dak's contract restructured. Let's get the cash. Let's go ahead and try and make sure we can click on all cylinders. Let's make sure we're going to the West Coast offense. You need guys that can catch the ball in space, that can make moves when they get it. DeAndre Hopkins fits that mold. Let's listen in real quick here before we get over to the Red Brick House.
Back, and then Laura, in some ways, this has been the offseason defined by stories that haven't yet happened.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the DeAndre Hopkins trade, and all seems to be very quiet out of Arizona as Hopkins remains under contract for 2 more seasons with this roster. And while everybody has posted a photo of DeAndre Hopkins in a jersey, not with the Arizona Cardinals, no deal has materialized. And from what I've heard, Laura, things remain extremely quiet on the DeAndre Hopkins trade front.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that timeline a little bit and when things could start to heat up, thanks to Field. More from him coming later. DeAndre Hopkins has consistently been thought of as one of the top wide receivers in the game. A big reason for that, his hands. That's definitely been the case during his tenure in Arizona.
Think
as
about
the
Noah
Cardinals
Brown.
wideout has posted the lowest drop rate of any receiver with at least 200 targets over the last 3 seasons. In total, Hopkins has just
You mean a
3
guy who doesn't drop the ball?
215
Nah, we
targets
don't want that.
since the start of the 2020 season. Marcus has smiled so big when we're talking about that. Sure hands. Okay, Dan, when you think of the trade market for DeAndre Hopkins, when do you think it actually starts to heat up a little bit here?
Yeah, after the draft.
Yeah.
If you're a team going into the draft and you're on a pretty big-time playmaking wide receiver and you don't get one, you look to DeAndre Hopkins. If you're in the OBJ sweepstakes, you're in the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. The reality is he's paid like a number 1 receiver, but unfortunately because of injuries the last few years, the production hasn't been there. He's got 96 catches in the last 2 years combined. The last time he had 96 in a season was 2017. So that's the reality. I'll throw a flyer team out there. Just if you are the Los Angeles Chargers and you sit there and go, we got a really good roster, and we go into the draft and we want a receiver or 2, and they're not there, they don't get them. I look at saying, well, and that's DeAndre Hopkins with Mike Williams and Keenan. Now we're talking about the ability to push the ball downfield.
Bro, we saying, Brent, I swear in my pre-production call, I told Coco, whatever, our APs, Los Angeles would be interested for DeAndre Hopkins. I promise you that. But absolutely. But I look at DeAndre Hopkins in production because that's the overall arching conversation. You just mentioned it with the injuries. But I think about his production throughout the years. And if you are a contender, you should be looking at bringing in DeAndre Hopkins. Right? Maybe with a restructured contract. Potentially he'll be up for that because now he's in that point of his career where you want to win. I put together a list of the quarterbacks that DeAndre Hopkins has played with throughout his career. And you tell me about production.
Yeah.
Play on a cast in his first.
Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, Brock Osweiler, Brian Hoyer, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tom Savage, Matt Schaub, Brian Millott, and Colt McCoy.
Deshaun Watson did to him and Kyler Murray. But DeAndre Hopkins is still a valuable commodity. He's a championship piece. And I still believe he's a solidified number 1 wide receiver in this league, especially when you talk about putting points on the board and scoring touchdowns with contested catches. Somebody going to get a valuable piece, maybe under a restructured contract.
And by the way, Coco is a swagoo nickname. Her real name is Chanel, and she is a queen.
Okay, see, and to me, that's where you look at this and say, make a move. Make a move, man. You know, we did so much last year with bargain basement stuff. Let's make a move and let's really just say, let's get this thing. I'm tired of listening to Eagle fans. I'm tired of losing to San Francisco. I'm ready to get it all done. All right, good people. That's what we have this morning, and we're going to go ahead and get our shit together. Get our stuff together over at the Red Brick House. It's another day. We're going to get more done, and I can't wait. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you soon.